Hey, it's Coach Ariel Anderson, and I'm here at Ohana's house at a dear friend in Northern California, in a magical, beautiful place. I just love so much. Just brings joy to my heart. I'm defluffing my hair. And I'm thinking about you today, and I titled this live today, this Q&A, this space today together with unleash yourself or unleash. And I'm thinking, what is that? I'm hoping you're curious. I realize that, it sounds a little bit cliche, but when we're here in the circle, we want to hit all the possible topics to really get you moving and going with your midlife creativity, your creating into the world, and your fertility and pregnancy, that ultimate creating, right? So, welcome back if you've been here before. It's always great to have you in this circle, this world circle. And if you're new here, definitely hit subscribe and join us on another Friday where we meet in the mornings every time on 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific or 9:30 the first Friday, and occasionally on Thursdays on that first week. So I am so excited because we've talked so much about, issues that come up like fibroids, or you have other issues. We talk about going into the state of possibility and that leap of faith, like last week in our meditation. And this week, I wanted to really dive into, unleashing that. Okay, what do I mean? So, this is what I mean. There is this sense of like all the control of your diet, of what you're supposed to do, of the necessary steps, the needed steps, looking within yourself. There's so much work that's going on. And ultimately, there is this moment as well where you just have to take in all that information and take a pause. And this has been a pause week with my clients. So it feels right to be talking about this now. And where you take inside of the pause, you just notice what's there, what's asking for your attention, what's asking for energy. Do you know what I mean? You know what's inside of the pause? Do you know in music that pause symbol is one of the most important pieces inside of the music, right? You'd think that it was the melody or, the sounds, that how fast it's going, which key, what note it's in, is it B flat or, whatnot. But really it's that pause and what's inside of that pregnant pause, right? So that's where I want to dive into today is what's inside of that pause that's calling for your attention, calling for your love, for your energy, for your possibility, and just letting that go with freedom, letting that the unleashing or releasing of you as your full, authentic, what you need version of yourself. Meaning, if you need to go out and, sing on the cliffs of the ocean, then to make space for that. If you need silence to be in your own energy without others, without all the of what needs to be done, then coming into that. If you need to do handiwork, you're not going to really see that here. Well, I've been working with yarn lately. I don't know. It was something I did at the beginning of my pregnancy where I was working with crocheting. My daughter's doing finger knitting. So we're doing it together. And it's very relaxing. And it's a place that ideas come where there's room for just. Now, is that unleashing fully? No, the unleashing really comes in, for example, turning on my favorite music and just dancing with freedom. It's starting that ball rolling and then allowing that when I'm with you or I'm with my ohana, the people in my inner circle that matter to me, my family, my kindred souls, that's you as well. You're my kindred soul. That taking out the stops. And why is that important? When you're doing that, when you are unleashing, you're taking off, literally, imagine that you're a dog or a cat or a wild animal, and you are unleashing yourself Allie Bell, they're being unleashed. Kids are running in and out. That you're unleashing yourself, releasing yourself into the wild, into the possibilities. You can run free. There's something about that, literally unleash. I imagine this unhooking, the clicking, unhooking, and allowing yourself to see where you want to run, where you want to run to, where you want to run to. Maybe you haven't even run for so long, literally danced freely, put on your sexy clothes or the things that make you feel free. When I got married, I tried on so many dresses before I got married. I'm thinking about this because it's really feels connected. I had somehow controlled myself, even though I was free inside of that relationship, like I'd never been before. I had controlled myself into feeling like there were certain things I needed to do inside of that particular society and circle. And I put on these different dresses in these wedding shops, these bridal shops, and I thought, I feel like I'm suffocating. And if this is how I'm going to start my marriage, I'm going to feel like the whole thing is like that. Wait a minute. So what you wear, for example, makes a difference. Maybe that's a whole nother YouTube video. We talked about it a little bit before, but it's about coming into the feminine, coming into where you feel open and free and you feel good about yourself. Like I love to wear my blues, you know that, because it reminds me of the ocean and the sky and this sort of limitlessness, this expansiveness. And it's like this sort of, it's a color, but it's the connection. Maybe it's the sound of coins connected to your shirt, or tassels, the feeling of it against your belly, or the swoosh of a skirt, or the oneness of feeling yoga pants. I don't know. It can be anything. But what kind of starts the ball rolling for you to feel free and to feel like your full self, like coming into that sacral point, that point just below your breasts, or your between your lungs, if you put your hand there and you take a breath, that spot. It's like, imagine if your breasts are here, it's right in that place right there. You put your hand there, and maybe your hand up to the heavens, God, universe, whatever you believe in, and it's that coming into a breath and exhaling, and like, what's calling? What wants to be free? Have you ever had one of those moments? What kind of wakes you up and sets you free? What unleashes, allows you sort of this full version of yourself? Who are you your full version of self with? I was thinking about this the other day. It's like who you laugh out loud with. You make crass jokes or whatever it might be. Like, so there's a kind of a permission to fully be. Who are those people for you? Spend time with them. Get on a call with them. And why is this important to you creating and fertility? Because it's getting the flow going. It's that flow of energy, of creativity, of receiving information. We talked about, writing can be that, where something of you kind of gets released. And in that, where I was talking about that receiving and that opening, is where fertility opens, where the creativity is flowing, and that energy of you and your truest self, your free self, your wild Mustang running free self. And that doesn't mean you have to be crazy. It means that something feels alive, truly alive. So I would love for you to take a moment, whether you're now live on the call or here on the replay, and write a little comment for me, or even a word, something where you feel truly yourself or free and released. I would love to hear where you feel the most released or free and in that vibe. Thank you for the like, by the way. It's great to see you here. And thank you for that, by the way. That helps other people find this later. I love that. And that you're connecting. That makes a difference to me. So, just throw down in the comments, somewhere, is it dancing or picking flowers in my garden, your garden, or going on a hike and touching the trees, or just putting your hands up to the sky, or swimming free in the ocean, or, maybe it's a simpler thing that's, right inside your own home. Maybe it's just, doing the work that you meant to be doing on this planet and how good that feels for you. Maybe it's being at work, in your job, your career that you may or may not be like, oh yeah, about, but there's something about that connection with your colleagues. Maybe it's that moment in the kitchen when you're making a cup of tea, cooking. For me, Mrs. M, for me, it's cooking, creating new dishes. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's one of my favorite things too, is that, when you're creating and is it the same for you, Mrs. M? Is that same feeling where do you sniff the spices and the foods to see what combines together? Do you have favorite recipes? Are there certain more spicy or do you create your own? I'd be so curious to hear more about that. It's just, cooking is so vital and beautiful. I love that. Imagining you in the kitchen kind of stirring something and cutting up in the different colors that might be combined, and or maybe you have a favorite family recipe or something that brings back beautiful memories. All of the above. I love it. We have a tradition every year, like when certain holidays come, of pulling out, great, 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 great grandma's recipes and, getting at least 3 generations together to even do parts of it, rolling out the dough and crumbling the walnuts and, rolling things up on the stick from great, 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 great grandma that was carved and brought from the old country, all of that. There's so many, there's so much connected to cooking and the nourishment and the nourishing of the soul. Do you know, like water for chocolate? I don't know if you ever saw this sort of old fable. It's in a movie and a book. Beautiful. Mexican, if I remember, Mexican tale of, that the energy that you have in the moment, the thoughts, the emotions that you have go into the food, and you share that with people. And how amazing and beautiful. I think like Water for Chocolate, the movie kind of was similar, not exactly, but when they do the feast at one point, and you see people kind of going through this rush of emotion, there's a piece of that nourishment, and you too, like not only making it and creating it, but connection with the divine in a way to make your food and share that. And imagine that you're doing this. We'll use this as an example since we're here with this. Imagine in this creating this connection with some higher source to decide exactly, maybe you add a little bit more cinnamon or a little bit more salt or whatever it might be, and that's a connection of the divine. That's that freeing, that being unleashed, that energy flow. Imagine if you key into that energy of that thing. Maybe it's different for someone else out there, but you. And as you're cooking, connecting in with, what if you had that flow and that connection as well with your fertility and your body? That you had this constant relationship with your body of this freedom, this energy, this rush, this flow that allowed you to be in unison, connection, communicating. And your body would say, okay, look at this. We are reunited, because there are moments when we have a breakdown in trust and flow together because of experiences in life, losses, trauma, so many things. And this is one of those things, like when you go into your cooking, or maybe it's something else, that you get into this. So imagine maybe when next time you're doing a recipe, going into this, feeling this, and then being like, okay, so we're partners now. Body, creativity, divine. We are partners. And I want the signs. Tell yourself, okay, you want the signs. I want the signs and the draw, the pull of what food, what I need to add today that will help me to stay connected to you. What do you need today? And you might get a new idea of putting in pumpkin or, I don't know, kale or something that you don't normally even use, that you maybe next time or maybe today, if it's in your refrigerator, you can put into that recipe. And it's that call and being listened to, that builds that relationship. And then the next time, you can come into that, okay, what do I need to know after eating this food? While I'm eating this food, let me also get more information. Maybe while you're taking those bites of that amazing thing that you just made, or a simple thing, you get the idea of going to a different place to make love with your partner, going to a different doctor to do your treatments, whatever it is that you are on the path, or maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's the simple thing of, only working with your fertility on days where you really have full freedom and space, where you've already had a day of rest. There could be so much information that comes in there. And I just want to encourage you. It's always over and over is going to come back to you listening within, because you have so much wisdom. Wisdom inside of your cooking, wisdom inside of your dancing, even what path to walk down. Today we go to the beach to see elephant seals. There's a family of elephant seals sitting on the beach. We're going to drive a long way for that, but it's worth it, because there's something of just about that dynamic of life and the way that they just are barking out into the world that also wakes up something. It's that interconnection with nature. So I encourage you to just keep listening to where there's that hit of where you just breathe a little bit fuller, or you laugh, or you have a little giggle. Maybe it's just that your shoulders go down. Just noticing your body communicating with you what is a yes, and going into that for your fertility, for your creating in this world, for you, because this is your midlife path to joy and health through your creating, being on your path and what you're meant to be doing, what you're meant to be connecting with, which then unfolds into creating your family for the first time, or again, if that is the choice and the path that still feels right. And then in that, from this beautiful foundation of connecting and realizing where that energy flow is, when you have that family, or if you have one now, it's going to be that base, that more roots going down to keep you stable and strong and grounded for an incredible life, incredible family, incredible partnership, friendships. And in those moments when you dip down in that ultimate humanity of imperfection and challenges, or whatever is going on, maybe transitions like us for the last 4 years, you just have something to come back to, be reminded. The cooking, the feet on the ground, barefoot on the grass, the working with paints again, sometimes it's even in cleaning, simple tasks where you can find a connection to yourself. There's a silence or a vibrance. So that's that's what I have to put out in the world with you today. I'm wondering if you have any questions, not necessarily about just this and how to connect and where to connect, because that's going to be some deep breaths and finding your way inside. But maybe there's a question for something else, which you're welcome to put now down in the chat, or in the comments. And as well, you're welcome to do on the replay, or if you think about it and something pops up and you want to come back, you can come back to this and make a comment and see what unfolds. And down in the description, I have a couple of freebies. And if I don't, actually, I'll put them in when we finish, because I realize I'm not sure I put those in there, because I'm doing the live on the phone today, which is super fun. So thank you for the wisdom. I learn a lot from you every time I watch. Oh, that just warms my heart. And that's the whole reason I'm here. Any spark that can make life and this path easier for you is my ultimate and divine hope, is just coming back to yourself. And it's all these little, bits of information that are going to spark your unique direction. And that means a lot to me. That's why I take, I'm on holiday. I'm pausing. I want to connect with you and take this time, because even a few minutes inside of life's movement, even a couple of seconds even of having awareness of these things will start and continue to shift things in a way that can be life-changing, not just about your fertility and your pregnancy in the future now, but in your life, because nothing should be one-dimensional. It's only for this. It should be multifaceted, like and give you what you need in many directions, rippling out. Every time, Mrs. M, every time I feel the world rejects us because we're over 40, I come to you for videos of upliftment. Oh, yay. That's what got me started. It's funny with Imperfect Parenting, the podcast, when I started it just for parents in the beginning and people who support parents, it was because I was hearing people being so hard on themselves, mostly women being hard on themselves, first about being parents, but also about fertility. And then it rippled out to this, coming here with you, because man, it is so frustrating, and I'm right there with you. I feel insulted that somebody, just because of a number, is questioning your health, is questioning your ability to be a mother, to be a parent. How dare they? And, I hope, and I'm sure if you're here, there are other areas of your life where you are just shining, or you've been brave. And I know that because you're here, that there's that alignment of sort of being a dynamic person. And when somebody belittles that by simply just saying, well, you're too old, you need to go on immediate hormones, and you need to do this, without getting to know you at all, or not really diving in, but they just see a number. People have been having babies for eons. And nobody was asking, how old are you? It was just, I'm pregnant, we're having a baby. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. That's part of it at any age. At any age. So I encourage you, I will remind you again today that I had 2 cousins, which were for me, who, okay, it sounds crazy to others, but I know I will have to take home a baby. Yes. No, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. When you know, you know. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. So one of my cousins said to me when I was in New York City, she said, by the way, because I said, I'm not in a hurry. I want to be with my true love, or I want it to be the right timing, and whatever. There was a lot going on, and my cousin was like, you have a cousin who's 50, another one who's 55, and they had babies. And I was like, oh. And even if it wasn't my family, I would have been encouraged. I only need to know that one person's done it. That's all. Some people can just forge ahead and they don't need to know that. I always needed the example, to see one person do it. Like when I was a kid, jump off the bridge over the river, I would watch a couple people do it. And I was like, oh, okay, it's possible. I can do that and I'll live. And I might have fun. I might scare myself, but okay, I'll go for it. And I jumped off that bridge into the river. Big bridge. Very high bridge, scary bridge. But I lived. I just needed to know that. So that's what I'm here doing for you. And you mentioned that about taking the baby home. That's it. Oh, I just heard on, I think it was Mind Valley today, I just heard a quote from Matthew McConaughey. And it's not that he's my oracle, my guru, but he's an interesting guy for sure, from Texas, right? And he said the target attracts the arrow. Okay. It's law of attraction, right? It's basically you see, if you're sure about something, you get there. I do believe that. I think there's moments where we waver. We go, oh, maybe I'm just crazy, or maybe I'm just making it up, or maybe that's not really possible. And that's where things slow down, and that's human, and that's okay. That's going to happen. But that sureness that you're talking about, Mrs. M, that is powerful. I always knew that I was going to have my daughter. I knew from a very young age, I'm going to have a daughter. She's going to be really headstrong and powerful. And it's going to be intense, but it's going to happen. And friends said at 39 and at 41 and at 43, they're like, you don't even have a partner. You need to get to this. I mean, are you giving up? Oh, you must not want kids. I'm like, do those things all connect? It's not about not wanting them. It's just, it hasn't happened. Either I haven't tried, you haven't tried, you hadn't tried until this moment, you didn't meet your partner yet, or it hasn't worked until now. And I believe that there's that sureness. That sureness is what's going to get you there. And there might be, because you're not there yet, because there's something else, or maybe multiple something else's that need to happen first for you, in your life, for your life, or within you. I bet it's right here. It's like floating around close. It's within reach. And it's just a slight shift in perspective, a slight looking to the left or right, where it is sitting there and you're going to go, oh my God, that's been there the whole time. And it doesn't mean it's an easy thing. And it doesn't mean that it's a fast thing. But it's there. And that's what these days are about. That's what us connecting is about. That's what this community is about. Is about sparking that, getting that slight shift until you see it or you feel it, and you get there. You get to that, I know I'm going to bring my baby home. You are. You're going to bring that baby home. And I'm really excited and happy to be on this path with you, helping spark that and move that maybe a little closer, a little faster, but in its own time. Everything in perfect time, as my friend Deb always says. I wish you a beautifully imperfect day. If there are any last words, you're welcome to throw them in. Otherwise, I would say thank you for being here. I'm going to go to the beach to that family of elephant seals. Be reminded of what is possible. Thank you, Mama. You a true blessing. Oh, you're welcome, Mrs. M. I'm going to throw a picture of that family of elephant seals up there in Instagram, which is at Ariel Green Anderson, and remind you that your family is possible too. Maybe it's bigger than that family we're going to see today, but it is unique and just like you. And your path is not the same as anyone else, so that's okay. Enjoy the beach. Thank you. It's going to be cold, but it'll be fine. And I will see you next week. Now, remember, next week is 9:30 because it's the first Friday of the month, and the night before Thursday, 5 p.m., and that's Pacific time. So I will see you there. Keep listening within, and I'll see you soon. Bye. And there'll be new videos soon.